sort of engaged, forefighters of some style or political goal, and that you're just as clichédly blinded by the track as your predecessors. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No.
Like when you say, like, well, we don't reject existing structures, but we're picking up forgotten items or maybe movements, ideas. But once you pick them up, you become the new protagonist of it. Don't you fall into the same new trap of finding your own structure?
No, because like I said, we don't resist structures per se. We resist specific structures, sometimes from a very egoistical position, just because they are not our structures. We feel a lot of people with good intentions, for some reason they are the people who are powerless, and they are the people who are, by their own will, give up their power to defend the structures that they love, and we want to change that.
So you're saying it's only the powerless who abandon the structures they're in?
Not necessarily, but at this point in time, we feel that we abandoned the range of abilities we have to create a space for our own structures and defend this space.
Right, so it's just something you do, it's not as if you're saying like there should be innovation, the weak should invent their own power.
We are not obsessed with the new, if that's what I mean. If there is something worthwhile that has happened before and was abandoned, we will gladly pick that up. And again, like I said, there are many moments in the history of civilization which are pure beauty. There are achievements that we salute. We don't share the idea of the radical left that the history of civilization is only a history of that civilization is an original sin, and that civilization is nothing but enslavement and exploitation, and therefore it should be completely wiped out.
Yes, well you mentioned something about beauty, because I also read that you want sort of, I don't know if it's a taste or beauty, but you want an aesthetic quality in all your work. Mm-hmm. Does that necessarily make it, does that necessarily give it a conservative angle? Because beauty and taste is always recognition, is always based on memory.
Yes. Obviously we resist the notions of dictating taste, the same way as we resist the notions of dictating truth. What we are trying to point out that there are two extremes, and we oppose both. We oppose the extreme of the modernist narrative that said there is one truth and it's a universal truth that everybody should obey, and we know how destructive those ideas were. At the same time, we resist the total opposite, which is total relativism. We resist the idea that when you say a truth is relative, you actually say it's not truthful at all. And we want to instill and reinstill some power into our personal and relative truths, partly because we think they are always the tip of the iceberg. They are always part of something bigger. They are never really just your own, and not in the sense of being being influenced by a certain environmental culture, but in the more almost mystical or Jungian sense that the ideas you find beautiful are a hint to something which was around for a very, very long time, and you're just recognizing it from your own position. But your own position is a doorway to something permanent and gigantic, which is bigger than yourself. And in that sense, the relative truth is very powerful and very potent.
Right, so, but you're not entirely agreeing with the Pope either, who is like fighting against all cultural relativism at the moment. Mm-hmm. And he says we have to kind of, take sides and fight for one cause or the other. You're not taking the Pope's side. You're not taking sort of postmodern side. You're trying to find a way in between, using the structures that were sort of unstructured, personal way that then becomes a creation.
Well, it's interesting that the Pope. Yeah, we will finish now, okay. And then we start talking.
Last question.
Make one line.
just to find out to what
Yes.
extent he agrees with the Pope.
I agree with the Pope.
All right. Hallelujah. Thank you very much.
Now we changed the program a bit. We first
It's funny now, this
thought
Pope really came out
about
of the blue.
showing the Loonstof film program, but we will not do that. We will go on with Wilfried Houyebeck now. He wrote a piece for the Big Mac issue 2 about Crystal Punk Manifesto. And yeah, he will talk about elephants and apes who paint. So let's listen to Wilfried Houyebeck.